Peace, family. It's the Mound Builder. Happy to be back with you for this week's episode of Mound Building Monday, live from my mobile office. Trusting everything is well with you, or at least you're getting through this situation as good as possible. I wanted to take just a few brief moments to mound build on the concept of what's next and up-leveling. I dealt with the concept of what's next in my most recent newsletter, but I want to go a little bit deeper with that and add the concept of up-leveling, what's required of us as we begin to move forward into the future. I hear a lot of people talking about they can't wait to go back. They can't wait to go back to school. They can't wait to go back to work. They can't wait to go back to the relationship as it was. They can't wait to go back to the club, sporting events, life as it was prior to this epidemic or pandemic. To that, I have to respond, there is no such thing as going back. Going back is over. What we have to do now is up-level ourselves so that we can move forward in the best way. Back isn't working. Biblically speaking, going back is comparable to going back into Egypt after the flood, or going back into Babylon after the destruction. Back has been cut off. So now how do we move forward in the best way? As the mound builder, one of the things that I do is ask questions, and the answers to those questions become the foundation of how we spring forward. So from a foundation perspective, we really have to begin to define the terms that we use and begin to reject the definitions and the labels that have been handed to us and programmed and force-fed into us, so that we can begin to design our own path based on the light that is within us and move forward based on that, as opposed to moving in a way that benefits others. So back to questions and back to our foundation. What we want to ask ourselves in this instance is, have what we've been doing in 2019 and prior really been serving us, serving our best interests and serving our highest interests? And moving forward from 2019, before this pandemic or epidemic, and then moving forward into 2020 and beyond, what is it that we need to do, and how is it that we need to position ourselves inwardly so that we can move forward in the best way? When we look at what we've been doing and focusing on up to this point, all of those distractions have been set aside. So now we find ourselves longing for those distractions instead of focusing on what's really important. Case in point, I hear a lot of people say that they're bored. They're bored because they're not going to work. They're bored because they're not going to school. They're bored because they're not doing all of the things that they've been doing up to this point. And so now, since they don't have those external stimuli, they don't have those marching orders, they don't have someone basically telling them or commanding them what time they need to get up, what tasks they need to get done during the day, what's important, what's required for them to be successful in the future. Since they're not receiving that stimuli and they're sitting in quarantine, they're bored. Because if I don't have work, or if I don't have school, or if I don't have these things, then there's nothing for me to do. Or I'm bored. Or you really expect me to entertain myself or to come up with something to do? Because I haven't been trained that way. I've been trained to follow scripts and to follow programming. That's not going to cut it 2020 and moving forward. You have to up-level yourself now, and you have to really begin to define who you are and what you really want to do. So that's the first question at this foundational level. Who are you? A lot of us confuse labels with definition. Labels are not the same as definition. Titles are not the same as definition. Who are you? When you ask that question of people, they'll say, well, I'm a programmer. I'm an administrator. I'm a doctor. I'm a cable person. I'm a mother. I'm a teacher. These are labels and these are titles, but they don't really speak to who you really are. And to really define who you really are, you got to really do the work and dig deep within yourself, ask questions, get the answers, and then question those answers over and over until you really get underneath and find out what the root answer is as to who you are. I didn't ask you what religion you're in. I didn't ask you what your favorite hobby is. I didn't ask you what people tell you you are or what they call you. I'm asking you, who are you? Answering that question is going to help you to springboard into 2020 and beyond. It's very, very key. There's a process that I use as the mound builder where you set a foundation, and the foundation is based on questions, definitions, and answers. Literally. The base foundation is existence. The highest foundation of this pyramid is imagination. Imagination is where the real truth is. That's the real creative point in every individual. That's where you create. Why am I bringing all of this up? Because up to this point, our foundation has been laid by somebody else. Moving forward from this point, we're going to have to go into ourselves, into that creative nature, into that spark that exists within inside of us, and literally begin to create what it is that we want to experience, how it is that we want to be, and what it is that we want to continue to bring out of ourselves moving forward. That's where we are right now, and that's the up-leveling process. The mundane process is what we've been doing. We've been going to work and going to school and taking our marching orders and following party lines and saying the right things and going along with the crowd. We have to begin to do something different now. We have to create our new normal. And that's what up-leveling is all about. So what I want to encourage you to do is begin to start asking those questions. Really begin to get into those answers and really begin to define and live the definition of who you are. Lastly, I want to say, be careful who you listen to, and be careful what you listen to, and be careful of those who have a vested interest in you believing certain things and then benefiting off of that belief. Begin to really now take the control of your life. You have time now to begin to do this. This is very, very important. Really begin to take that control of who you are and what you want to bring into manifestation. Stop looking backwards. There is no more back. Look forward. Look at now. There is no more important period than right now. And no matter how well you fantasize on the past, and look towards the future, there is no better time than right now. Now is the best time there ever was and there ever will be. So really begin to focus on where you are now, what has brought you to where you are now, and then how you're going to move forward in the new now.